Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations such as this. I'm out here in the fields today because it is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm giving you my thoughts on things that are happening in the world and the public consciousness. And giving me my thoughts and opinions. It's my thoughts and opinions, remember that. If it's your first time here, welcome. Welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, all 974 of you today, I think there is, welcome back. It is an honor and a privilege to serve you by walking along these beautiful locations and speaking my mind. I hope you enjoy it. So, today I'm titling this video, Be Careful What You Wish For. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of friends and family that are closely following what they believe is the truth to be happening in the world through the media. And as we all know, anybody who's spent any time on this channel here, I don't trust the media at all. Don't trust the government, don't trust the media. So with that healthy suspicion in place, we're going to be talking about events that are happening in the world and what I think they mean and why I think we should be careful what we wish for, because as I said before, the law of unintended consequences always comes back to bite you in the ass. So let's be careful what we wish for. So, this week is going to be an intriguing week. As we've seen with the conflict, with the war, as they're calling it, the invasion. It's funny that it's called an invasion when Russia does it, but it's called an intervention when America does it. Strange, don't you think? Anyways, we're getting off the point. Now, this week is going to be a bit strange. Friday, I think it is, that Russia is being removed from SWIFT. And possibly the internet. Yeah, interesting, don't you think? There's also a bunch of companies that have decided that they're not going to do business in Russia anymore. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, those kind of companies. Those wonderful companies. I think Russia's probably better off for it. But what does all that mean? I mean, really, you know, in the whole scheme of things, what does it mean that Russia or any country, doesn't matter if it's Russia or Iran or, it doesn't matter, North Korea, you know, being removed from SWIFT. What is SWIFT? What is SWIFT? Well, let's start there. Otherwise, we're going to be walking around the same circles and people are going to not know what's going on. All right, so SWIFT is a interbank messaging system, okay? Now what that means is, okay, let's just say I want to transfer my money from my bank to your bank, okay? Let's just say I bank with NatWest. I don't, but let's just say I do. Let's say I bank NatWest and you bank with Lloyd's. Probably the same bank, but it doesn't matter. And I want to transfer money. So those banks, they use the SWIFT system, which is a messaging system that messages to say, this person is sending money from their account to your bank, to someone else's account, okay? Now that messaging system, it also helps them to balance their books so that at the end of the day or at the end of the week or whatever it is, how often they do it, they actually say, they balance the books by saying, okay, we've transferred 500 million to your bank and you've only transferred 400 million to us, so you owe us 100 million, okay? You with me? So SWIFT is a interbank messaging system. One way, okay? Now, the world, that messaging system is run by a bunch of privately owned banks, okay? Private companies. So they own the system that the world's banking uses currently. The current system. For how much longer? Different story. Okay, so Russia's being removed from that. Now, how are they going to transact? Now, what do I mean by transact? Okay, so Russia supplies a lot of gas and oil to Europe through the Nord Stream pipeline and some other ones as well. But they supply a lot of the gas and energy to Europe from Russia. In addition to that, they sell a lot of wheat. A lot of wheat. Yeah, Russia supplies a bunch of stuff to a bunch of people. Now, if they're not going to be able to transact with the rest of the world, what are they going to do? Oh, it's sanctions. Oh, I'm going to put sanctions on you. It's funny that all these countries are applying sanctions and saying, okay, we're going to put some economic sanctions on Russia, but then still buy oil from them. I mean, it's so stupid. It's unbelievable. Now, the reason I say be careful what you wish for. So I've got a lot of friends and family who are following these events and think that they know what they're talking about. Obviously they don't. They're clearly uninformed because they're watching the news, the media, the mainstream media. And they're saying, oh, good, Russia deserves to go down. Not thinking about those people that live in that country. Okay? Now, you've got groups like PayPal has stopped the average person, and the average person living in that country that has nothing to do with war or invasion or incursion or anything else, whatever word you're looking for what's happening over in Ukraine at the moment. So the average person is not involved in that at all. PayPal has withdrawn services from those Russian people to be able to transact through PayPal. And the worldwide, they're also talking about removing Russia from the web, the internet. Okay? So the average person is being punished. The average person. So all these people are you're screaming from the rooftops and going, woohoo, yay, it's great. Russia's being punished. Is Russia being punished? The people being punished. Now, the point I keep on making with people is that you're cheering for what the news media and people like George Soros and Hillary Clinton are saying is a good thing, okay? So you're cheering for your own demise. For your own demise. I mean, you might be cheering today and saying, ha ha, those suckers in Russia, ha ha, suck it. Yeah, you suck it. You just happen to be born in a country that has a bad leader. Like every country, every single country. If you think your government's good, you're delusional. Absolutely delusional. Don't care where you live, they're all fucked. All of them, every single one. They're all criminals, corrupt scum, every single one. Oh, but not mine. Yes, yours. All of them. Anybody who puts their hand up and says they want to be in power is corrupt or corruptible. Okay? Now, so you're cheering for the demise of these people losing their services to banking, food. I mean, McDonald's isn't food, but you know what I mean. The average person is losing services, the ability to live, and you're cheering for it. And what happens when it's your turn? Okay, let's just say you live in Turkey, for instance, and the world wants to cut off Turkey. It means no more oil sales from Turkey to Turkey, no more food sales, no, Turkey's cut off. What are you going to do now? Well, because the Turkish government's bad, and all those people in Turkey deserve to be punished. People are so short-sighted. They're looking from one perspective, which is the perspective that the news media is telling them to look at, which is, oh yes, they deserve to be punished. Who deserves to be punished? Who? You're talking about Putin, but what about all those innocent people that live in the country? They don't count? Or they deserve to be punished because they got a bad leader. Okay, does that count for you as well? So, there's that. Now, in addition to that, there's a bunch of other things. There's so many things happening at the same time. Like I could do a video every day. I don't do a video every day. I have a life. There's a wonderful, one of my wonderful subscribers who's in my Telegram group, Porto, posted something on the Telegram channel the other day with a guy who's in front of a class, he's a teacher of some kind, in front of a class, and he's saying, how much does this water weigh? It's a pint glass of water. And one student says 6 ounces, another one says 8, another one says 12, and he says, it doesn't really matter about the weight. Okay, it doesn't matter about the weight. He said, now if I hold this glass for a minute, it's okay, there's no weight in it, it's okay. If I hold it for an hour, my arm will start to get a bit sore. If I hold it all day, my arm will go numb, it will hurt. He said, but if I put it down, then that pain goes away. Now, the moral of the story is that if you're carrying the weight of all the weight of the world and all the problems and all the things that could go wrong around with you all the time, of course it's going to beat you down. It will. And it will emotionally hurt you. So, that's why I don't do a video every day. I know there's people out there that do. I know that there's, I don't want to involve myself in it every day. I don't. And I don't think you should either. We need to have a connection to the world. We need to be out there meeting with people. We need to be out there in beautiful, really gorgeous surroundings. Look at this place. The sun's coming up. It is absolutely bloody gorgeous. We need to have that connection to the world. We need to see what's going on in the world. Of course we do. But if you're holding on to all that information for too long, it will hurt you. Mentally, physically, it will cause you problems in your life. That's why I don't do a video every day. I could, with all the information that's happening. So I try and boil it down in these videos where, I give you a sort of a cross section of what's happening, and then kick you out back into the world and go and say, all right, find your way. I try and give a few sort of street signs as to where I think things are going, so people can at least prepare themselves in the real world, if you like, if you want to call it reality. But that's the thing. I try not to do this every day because I want to have a life outside of the internet. Okay, so I hope you don't mind that. Now, as I say, there is so much happening in the world that I could make a video every day. It's crazy. Now let's go down the road of precious metals for a moment, just for a moment. So, off the back of what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, now if Russia does get removed from the SWIFT system, how are they going to transact? What has Russia been collecting, or every country, every central bank of every country for the past few years? What have they been collecting? Gold. Gold. Okay? Now, at the moment, the system that we're currently running in, which is the petrodollar system, the American dollar is the world reserve currency. That was set up by Kissinger in the 70s after Nixon took the US dollar off the gold standard, 1971, 15th of August, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that's close, 14th or 15th of August, 1971. The American dollar was taken off the gold standard. That was significant for the whole world because after the Second World War, Bretton Woods, I think it was, that they agreed that the American dollar, because America hadn't been bombed to shit like Europe had, that Europe would transfer its gold reserves over to America, to Fort Knox, that they would take care of the gold and they would back the American dollar with gold, and all the other currencies would be pegged to the American dollar. So the American dollar would be the world reserve currency, and that would be, everything would be priced in American dollars. Okay? So we have oil. That deal was worked out with the Saudis. The oil would always be sold, no matter where it is bought and sold in the world, it would be priced in American dollars. Okay? Which has helped the American economy no end, Now, the American dollar isn't the first world reserve currency. The British pound has been the world reserve currency before, and, China wants to have the next one. But I think the idea and the concept of a world reserve currency is going away, personally. I think the world reserve currency will go back to gold, and it will underpin everything. So when we're talking about Russia being taken off the SWIFT system, then there's an alternative system, a blockchain system, multiple blockchain systems that could be used, but I believe that there's already a system that's in place. Now, there's lots of speculation as to what that blockchain is. I think it's actually a group of, I don't think it's one, I think it's a group of blockchains that are going to supply this next system that we're going to be using. I can speculate on that. I've heard lots of rumors. The Bank of England has been using Ripple's technology. Ripple, their blockchain, the XRPL, the XRP ledger. Bank of England has been using their technology for years now. So that could be one of the ones to underpin the new system. There's another one called XLM. There's another one called Cardano, Algorand. There's a lot. There's a lot. It's all speculation. Everything is speculative at the moment, and no one knows for sure that we don't. The average person doesn't what's going to be the ones that take off. But I think with the way that we're moving into a digital society, we will have gold-backed currencies from each country, but rather than the central bank issuing them, I think it will be treasury issued, and they will be gold-backed. Now, as for international transfers and purchases and things like that, I don't think it's going to be in the American dollar anymore. I think it's going to be from currency to currency. The best way to transact from currency to currency, across borders, with very little cost and I've used the system, I know, is XRP. Whether that's going to be the one, I don't know. I don't. I have a sneaking suspicion it will be, but that means you could, in theory, transfer gold from point A to point B digitally, instantly, for next to nothing, as in for next to no cost. So that means that Russia could conceivably swap over to a gold standard and start transacting in gold through digital means. Okay, now what would that require? And China as well. Let's put a pin in Russia for just a moment, and let's go to China for a moment. Now, China's economy is in the toilet. Okay, deeply in the toilet. I've spoken about Evergrande before, well, months ago, and how Evergrande is deeply in the poo, deep, you know, to the tune of $300 billion. And strangely, being able to come up with payments to pay their debt in Bitcoin. But all the mining's gone, all the Bitcoin mining's gone from China, Chris. I've heard that said. Of course it has. Of course it has. And where's all that mining equipment gone? Interesting. So Chinese economy is in the toilet. They're printing money. So much money. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. You've got Evergrande is a property development company in China. I think it's the second largest in China. It's gone belly up because they've been building complexes, buildings all over China that no one lives in, cities that no one lives in, just to sort of keep the people employed and keep the economy moving. But it is coming to a standstill. China has vast amounts of gold, as does Russia, as does most countries. So there's talk of a revaluation of gold, you know, because if you haven't looked, there's something called the USDebtClock.org, USDebtClock.org. Basically what that does is it tracks the money supply that's being produced, M2 they call it, the money supply, how much money is in circulation, and what an ounce of gold would be worth against that much money that's in circulation, against the American dollar. Okay, so currently the value of gold to the American dollar based on that USDebtClock.org is $30,000 per ounce. Now, if you've ever seen an ounce of gold, it's very, very small, $30,000. So it just shows you the value of your money. It's worthless. It's absolutely worthless. It's a piece of paper. It's not worth anything. So China and Russia have both expressed an interest in revaluing gold to cancel their debt cancellation. We've spoken about that a lot. You know, there's been talk about Nasara, Jasara, you know, all these kind of debt cancellation things. People say, oh, that's a bad thing, you know. Yes and no. There's pluses and minuses to everything, of course. But if gold gets revalued as a monetary metal, I don't think gold will be alone. I think it will be a basket of different metals as currency. So maybe gold, silver, palladium. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. But there's talk that China and Russia could both swap over to a gold standard and revalue gold up to a much higher price. And silver would also be valued at a much higher price. There's talk of $600 silver. There's also talk of $2.5 grand silver, which is probably what it's worth due to... Okay, let's see if I can go off on a little bit of a tangent here. All right, so for every ounce of gold that's mined in the world, 7 ounces of silver are produced. Okay, so for every ounce of gold, there's 7 ounces of silver that's produced. Okay, now if that was priced into the market, so that the gold would be 7 times the price of silver, but it's not. It's 75 times the price of silver. Okay. Now, silver is not only a monetary metal, it is also an industrial metal. It's used in everything. Solar panels, car batteries, you name it, silver is used. And the new technologies that have been developed, are using vast quantities of silver as well. And, strangely, the bombs that are being dropped around the world, not just in Ukraine, but around the world, have a lot of silver in them. Okay? So, the manipulation of the market is absolutely huge. Huge. The paper market, the COMEX, which is the... go and look up what COMEX is. I'm not going to explain it, but it's basically the control point That's the easiest way of precious metals. We're supposed to deliver physical silver last week. When the contracts closed, they only delivered 50% of that silver, the physical silver. They don't have it. There's a massive, massive, massive shortfall in the amount of silver that's being produced out of the ground. 800 million grams, I think, a year. Ounces, sorry, 800 million ounces. 850 million ounces, and there's 1.4 billion ounces that are ordered for this year alone. Massive shortfall. But the markets are being manipulated by the paper market. So people are selling paper contracts for silver and gold that don't exist. Okay, so that's how they manipulate the market. I think that manipulation is coming to a close. Now, anyone who has, like myself, who has been buying physical silver and gold and those kind of things to hedge against the inflation that's happening all around us, you know, we're all hoping and wishing for that price to come, $600, $2,000 silver, you know. But the ramifications of that mean that a lot of people are going to suffer. A lot, okay? So whilst we're looking for the financial collapse, because it has to, this financial collapse has to happen, and the price of gold and silver will probably be huge in the, you know, as a juxtaposition against that, the fall of the markets, the fall of the value of the dollar or the pound or whatever you want, whatever currency you're in, is going to be that a lot of people are suffering. Look at inflation now. I mean, my energy, my green tariff. Now, everyone who's been here before knows that I am staunchly against this whole idea of climate change. It's nonsense, utterly nonsense. So if you can see, I just had a talk with someone about half an hour ago about climate change. Now, I, along with everyone, can fully agree that we need to reduce the pollution going into our air. Pollution. Carbon is not a pollutant, okay? Carbon dioxide is essential for life on this planet. And the carbon dioxide is not the problem, it's pollution that's the problem, okay? Now, my green energy tariff has gone up 400% in the last year. 400%. And, you know, someone posted on Facebook the other day, you know how much the cost of the wind generated electricity has gone up? $0. And I'm like, yeah, well, how come my green tariff's gone up 400% then? So people are going to suffer when this happens. So as much as we're wishing for it all to sort of come down and for the whole systems, and I want this whole corrupt, one-sided bollocks system that only benefits the very, very few, the 0.1% in the world, and fucks everybody else. I don't want this system to be around anymore because it's not fair. It's not fair. But, you know, like I say, be careful what you wish for, because the downside to what's happening, you know, this whole manipulation and that coming to an end is going to be suffering. So this week as we move forward, now obviously I've spoken about the media a lot with their reporting lies and deceit, misinformation constantly. Okay, we're seeing old images. We saw the ghost of Kiev. Oh my god, what a pile of shit. I could have done videos after videos of all the nonsense that's coming out of Ukraine. It is utterly garbage. You know, turn on the BBC and it's like, children with cancer are not being able to be treated. They have to leave the country. Then there was another little boy on the cover of the Telegraph paper saying this boy walked 750 miles with just a passport in his hand. I mean, so bullshit. It's unbelievable. It makes me angry. It's unbelievable. But the media is constantly lying. They're propagandists. And they're desperately trying to cover for their lies. And it's lie after lie, and they use more lies to cover up their lies. But, you know, the ghost of Kiev was wonderful, okay? And it just proves it time and time and time again of what they've been doing. Ghost of Kiev, well, this ghost of Kiev, this pilot that shot down all the Russian fighter jets. I mean, total bullshit. And it came from a video game. okay? The footage came from a video game. It was actually a flight simulator video game. And they used that in the news to tell a bullshit story about someone called the Ghost of Kiev that was actually in the game. It's constant falsehood after falsehood after falsehood. So just be aware, anything you see, hear, read, come into contact with that has anything to do with the structure of the world and how it works, be wary of it. Question it. Question it. Don't just blindly accept anything that people say, especially me. Don't just blindly accept what I say. Anybody, the news, don't just blindly accept it. Go and look for yourself and decide what you think is true. I don't tell you the truth. I tell you my thoughts and opinions. That's what I see. You might see it completely different, and that's cool. I mean, you know, it's... You have to be discerning with the information that you take in and the information that you provide, the information that you share. Because, as we've all seen over the past 2 years, what you share has a profound influence on your relationships. Okay? I know that. You know, I've got people that won't talk to me ever again because of what I shared. I shared some information. I've got people that argue with me all the time. You don't know what you're talking about, Chris. You know, for 4 years I've been talking about inflation, digital assets, the coming digital economy, blah, 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 you know, all these kind of things on Facebook. Had everyone attack me for years. Now that everything's happening, as I said it would, where are those people? They're all deathly silent. They're all skulked away into the background, but they're not going to talk to me anymore. I mean, what a shame. My life is just... I feel sorry for me. I don't. You know, it's the one thing that's come out of all this, the good thing that's come out of all this is you know who your friends are. You do. You know who your friends are. You know who's willing to listen to you, even if they don't agree with you. And that's cool. We don't have to agree with each other. But you know who your friends are. The people who are going to attack you no matter what you say are not your friends. Okay? They're not. Your friends will be there to try and help you correct what they think is, you know, you're saying is wrong. But if they're not willing to listen to your opinion or why you think the way that you do, they're not your friends. They're not there to support you. Okay? They're going to try and tear you down. In Australia, we call it tall poppy syndrome. So basically, if someone gets too famous or too successful, then everyone wants to tear them down because they don't want other people around them to be successful. I don't know whether you've ever seen that before. I have. Now, as we move forward through this, turmoil, this collapse, this breakdown in the systems that we've come to rely on, it is, how best to say this? Don't panic. Don't panic about what you see. We've spoken about this, your energetic field that you emit. You have a field around you. Can I squeeze this into the time I have available? Probably not, but I'll try. I did ayahuasca a few years ago. I saw a vision of a toroidal. A toroid is like a donut, for want of a better way of describing it, of this toroidal energy field that came out of my chest and around and back through me. And that was it was creating the universe that I saw as reality. Okay? That toroidal energy field, we interact with each other's fields. We interact with the Earth's toroidal energy field. Everything, you know, we're all energy. The Earth's energy, we're energy, everything's energy. And we all interact with each other through that energy. Okay? You must keep your energy high. Keep light. Disconnect from the noise if you need to, and reconnect with people around you, because that's what's going to ground you and bring you back to the healing energy of the world. Walk around with bare feet. Connect with that energy and make sure you fill yourself up with it, because the negativity won't serve you. Positivity will. And for those of you who believe in a higher power, a God, or a universal consciousness, whatever word you feel comfortable using, connect with that and keep your spirits high, because you're going to need to, because that's what you're going to project out into the world. I feel comfortable and confident with what's going on. 100%. I see the noise, I see the lunacy, and sometimes it makes me angry. But that's the thing, I have to try and go back and recenter myself and say, remember, This is essential for our growth as a race. Okay? So, all that said, go out into the world, do good, be good, and you can influence the world through what you say, what you think, your energy, how you interact with other people is going to change the world. So go out and do that, because if we don't want it to stay the same, we have to have an influence over that through our energy field and the way that we interact with each other. So do that. Right, now go out there, look after yourself, look after each other, and thank you so much for joining me today. I love you all. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. Ciao for now.